Namaste, sir. Shall we start?
Yeah, Namaste. We can start.
Yes. Okay. Namaste, everyone. Welcome back again to the session. So let us begin the session by invoking the divine blessings. ध्यायामो धवलावती तेजो वै नैष्टिकी स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनी भगवती मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखी वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिक्तसूक्तम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकाम् ईश्वरी ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः. So once again, welcome back everyone. So handing over the session to sir.
Yeah, Namaste. So today we have a very important river to be discussed. That is the river Sarayu. And when I wrote the book Rivers of Ṛgveda, like I have started it with the rivers like Hariyupa, Yavavadi in Haryana, and then the very popular rivers like Ganga, Saraswati, and Sindhu, and the tributaries of Saraswati, like Apaya and Rashadvati, and the Punjab rivers like Sududri and yeah, Vipasha, that is Bias Satluj, and also the border river, our Indo-Pak border river, the Parishni river, that is Ravi, and then to its west, Chandrabhaga or Chenab, which is mentioned in the Rig Vedas, Asikni, and to the northwest of it is the Kashmir river, that is the Jalam river, mentioned as Vitasta. And of course, we have seen three flows of Vitasta, that Vibali, which is the oldest channel of Jalam river, which directly connected to Sindhu river. And then the two other like channels, that is the Vitasta channel, which is the same channel through which the river is Jalam river is flowing now, and a temporary channel called Marudvritha, which was active in during the 10th Mandala period of the Rig Veda, and that disappeared. So those rivers we have seen, and we have seen the river Sindhu to the west of northwest of the Kashmir, that Sindhu river. And I mentioned that is the kind of a boundary for a long period of in our prehistory. The river Sindhu was considered as the boundary river of the river in the horizon, and also known as the Rasa river, because of various the boundary river Rasa, and also it contains the like it flows to the Soma growing region, and Rasa is also it connect with it with Soma, so Soma is also Rasa. So all these things I mentioned. So if I compare with all these rivers, the amount of effort I have spent in some of the rivers doesn't require identification. So the effort I have spent in studying these rivers and writing about them in the book Rivers of Ṛgveda, if you compare that entire effort, and if you look at the effort of studying river Sarayu in the Ṛgveda, you can see that the efforts, the study of the river Sarayu taken largest amount of my time, like because there was a lot of confusion on the identification of the river Sarayu mentioned in the Rig Veda. And again, the immediately, like any common man will say that what is so big about river Sarayu? That is the river flowing through the Uttar Pradesh. So the Ghagra river, which is a tributary of Ganga. Though, so what's the big deal? So the big deal is basically because in the Rig Veda, when you read the Rig Veda and when you have the chronological analysis of sixth mandala, third mandala, seventh mandala, fourth mandala, like that, if you proceed like that, the river Sarayu is very clearly a western river. So the Rigvedic river Sarayu is not talking about the tributary of Ganga, which is to the eastern side. It is a very clearly it is shown as a western river. So there the problem starts. And then we have to identify this western river, a river in the western side with the name Sarayu. Now that was a big problem. So I have spent considerable amount of time. So maybe the largest amount of time in identifying a particular river in the Rigveda that is spent into the identification of the river Sarayu. So the one of the important contender identification of the river Sarayu is with the Harirud River in Afghanistan. And even the Aryan invasion theory, the people focused on Aryan invasion theory consider the Sarayu River as the Afghan river Harirud, which is flowing close to the Afghan river Harahwati, which is they identify as Saraswati. So out of this AIT, Aryan invasion theorists were very much interested in identifying the river Saraswati with the Harahwati and Sarayu with this Harirud river, etc. And then at the same time, my mentor Srikant Talagari, he also faced a lot of difficulty in identifying the river Saraswati, river Sarayu, and he went with a not a weak identification of the river Sarayu with a small tributary of Sindhu in the southern side called Sirtoi, something like that. And suddenly, like this is identification from M.L. Bhargava, who is the Ṛgvedic geographer, who is one of the prominent Ṛgvedic geographer before me, who had identified many rivers in the Rigveda. So I have also taken M.L. Bhargava's identification, which is like a unconfirmed identification of M.L. Bhargava on the Hariyupi and Yugavadi. And my contribution is confirming that identification of M.L. Bhargava for the Hariyupi and Yugavadi as the Haryana rivers, as the Yugavadi as the western channel of Yamuna, and this Hariyupi as Drishyadwadi itself. So these identifications are hinted in M.L. Bhargava's book, which predates Srikant Talagari's book on the Ṛgvedic chronology. So he has written books on Ṛgvedic geography even before Srikant Talagari. So Talagari has used the identifications of M.L. Bhargava mostly for his Ṛgvedic analysis. And he has, first of all, he had gone with M.L. Bhargava's identification of Sarayu. And he himself was not very much satisfied with it because M.L. Bhargava also was not very much satisfied with that identification. A small tributary of Sindhu into the southern side, to somewhere the Gomati river joins this Sindhu. So none of the people who identified Sarayu were not satisfied with their identification. M.L. Bhargava or Talagari, who was agreed or built on top of M.L. Bhargava's identification of Sarayu. And while I was writing the book on rivers of Rigveda, Talagari also have redefined his identification of Sarayu, but unfortunately he identified it with the Harirud River in Afghanistan, which is similar to equivalent of how the Aryan invasion theories, they also identified Harirud with the Afghan river. Sarayu with the Afghan river Harirud. So I have independently explored the entire river dynamics and the migration of the people. And it's slowly, like step by step, from starting with the Varaprithivya in the northern Haryana, which will later become Kurukshetra. So Varaprithivya to slowly into the confluence of Satluj Bias, that is Sududri Vipash. So we have seen Vishwamitra's carts, like carts of Sudas guided by Vishwamitra crossing the river Satluj Bias confluence. And then the next battle of Parishni, or the Dashrajana battle in the Indo-Pakistan border, the Parishni Ravi River, and then the other one, the Asikni River in the west, northwest of Parishni. And then later, so these things happen in the third mandala, and then the battle that is crossing to the Satluj Bias by Vishwamitra in the third mandala, and the Parishni battle, that is Dashrajana battle, in the seventh mandala, chronologically the next mandala. And next, towards in the fourth mandala, chronologically subsequent to the seventh, we also see now they are talking about this Jalam River as a in the form of Vibali, the oldest course of Jalam River, directly connecting to Sindhu, and the first unique reference of River Sindhu, not used as a generic term, but actually referring to the Indus River itself, also found in the fourth mandala. And based on this sequence, I have correctly located that the Sarayu, I mean, in a general level, like in a general kind of, even though we don't identify it, it becomes very clear to me that the Sarayu River has to be somewhere close to the river Sindhu, because the Ṛgvedic progression has reached up to the Sindhu River. So naturally, the river Sarayu need to be identified or explored in the Sindhu River region. So that is what I did, like just like anybody does. Like, first of all, you define the range, of the river where it can be found, and slowly zero into a particular river in that particular region. So the same progressive northwestern migration pattern we can see in the sixth, third, seventh, fourth, that kind of mandala progression. That same methodology allows us to give a range of geographical range of places where the river Sarayu can be identified. So that is the first thing. And this particular range definition doesn't allow us to locate the river Sarayu in Afghanistan. That become very clear to me. So this is a kind of a point of divergence between my scholarship and Talagiri, my mentor Talagiri scholarship. So that is one thing. So because so I need to completely search out and find out a very clear location identification of Saraswati, which nobody have done before. So that was the kind. This is the reason why I have to search a lot about this the particular river, that is the river Sarayu. And the one immediate, there is a general common man. I can immediately tell them why we can't identify the Sarayu River of Rigveda with the Uttar Pradesh River. That is mainly because of a battle. There is a battle of Sarayu, just like you have a battle of Parishni, battle of Yamuna, battle of Parishni, battle of Fasikni. There is an important battle which happened along the Sarayu River, and that is in the fourth mandala, 30th sutta. That is, so there is some of the descendants of Sudas. So naturally, you understand it is after the Sudha period of Sudas, right? So it is like chronologically later to King Sudas. So Sudas is in the third and seventh mandala. So naturally, in the fourth mandala, you have descendants of Sudas ruling. So and you have some of the descendants, Suda's descendants, having a battle with some of the Avestan people, some of the Avestan heroes. So definitely, the one reason why Talagiri is taking it as a battle happened in Afghanistan is because he automatically associate Avestan people with Afghanistan, or maybe a little bit overshooted the possibility of migration as reaching Afghanistan. But in my analysis, the Avestans were still living in the of course, to the west of in the northwest of Varaprithviya, but not so far as Afghanistan. So that is a slight difference between the chronologically or geographically difference with analysis of Talagiri. Whatever he identifies as the Battle of Sarayu, he automatically take it as a battle in Afghanistan. Whereas I consider that it is still 1,000 kilometers into the eastern side. Still, they have not reached Afghanistan. Because in my analysis, river analysis, I see only in the 10th mandala period, that is to the late Ṛgvedic period, we started seeing deeper into Afghanistan. So some kind of places mentioned in the Afghanistan start coming very somewhere in the late Ṛgvedic period. So this is a kind of you can say the difference in to what extent the Avestans have moved westwards. So as far as I'm concerned, they have only moved maybe to the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan. But as far as Talagiri, he automatically considers that they have already crossed the Afghanistan border and they are in the Afghanistan. So this is why automatically he considered the Sarayu to be the AIT theory identification, that is Harirudh. So that is the only difference I have. So, but at least it will tell to the layman who thinks that it is the this Sarayu River in the Uttar Pradesh, because that is never coming into picture. That entire geography to the eastern side, to the east of Ganga, is not coming into picture anywhere in the Rig Veda. So there is, and again, these things are all fought in the western side because these enemies are Western people. So this is why we are able to consider completely reject the idea that the Ṛgvedic Sarayu is the Afghan Sarayu, sorry, as the Uttar Pradesh Sarayu. And of course, because of the other reasons I mentioned, it cannot be the Afghan Sarayu because the Avestans have not reached Afghanistan till now. So that is one of the important things. So you have two kings, Arna and Chitraratha, two Aryan kings or the Ṛgvedic kings are mentioned as taking part in this particular battle, and they are also equivalent of their names are found in Avestan. So it's a very clearly a joint cultural event. Both the Avestans remember about it, that is the ancestors of Zoroastrians remember about it, and also it is reflected in the Rig Veda. So we have seen the Samvarana Bharata, the Puru of scornful speech, that is that event of conflict between Sudas and Samvarana Bharata is recorded both in the Rig Veda and in the Mahabharata, because Samvarana later returned back to Samvarana's descendant later returned back to Varaprithvi, and Kuru is descendant of Samvarana, and the Pandavas and Kauravas are all descendants of Kuru. That is why you see the same event mentioned. The signature of the same event is mentioned in both Rig Veda and Mahabharata. Similarly, this particular battle of Sarayu is reflected in both Avesta and Rig Veda. So instead of Mahabharata, now the intersection is with the Avestan literature. That is because the Avestans moved westwards, and this particular event happened in the western side, somewhere close to the river Sindhu. So this is the kind of understanding. So you can say, in a summary, Sarayu cannot be identified with any Uttar Pradesh river, and it cannot be identified with an Afghan river. Both has to be rejected. So the only possibility is that the Sarayu River is somewhere in the vicinity of the Sindhu River. And if you look at the number of times Sarayu, even though we have a lot of information, because Ṛgvedic rigs are dense in information, or you can extract so much of more information from Ṛgvedic rig. There is only three references to the river Sarayu. So the first one is in the fourth mandala, by Vamadeva Gautama. So he is a Vamadeva lineage rishi. And then Sarayu is mentioned in the fifth mandala by an Atreya rishi, Shavasta Atreya. And finally, he is mentioned in 10th mandala by Gaya Plata. So another rishi is mentioned. So these are the three references to the river Sarayu. And if you look at Vamadeva and Atri, both are related to the Ikshwaku lineage. And river Sarayu is also related to Ikshwaku lineage. So that is because, that is the reason why I have developed a theory that the river Sarayu, whether it is in western side or in the eastern side, it is related to the Ikshwakus. So Ikshwakus, of course, similar to the Panchalas, the name Panchala is a late post-Ṛgvedic name, and their ancestors are known as Tritsus in the Rig Veda. Similarly, the Ikshwakus also very late name, mostly popularized in the post-Ṛgvedic period. But in the 10th mandala, the name Ikshwaku is captured, but they are known much in a different name, that is Trikshis. So Trikshi is the name by which the Ikshwakus are known, and that is how the Western Ikshwakus like Trasadasya and Puriguts are known in the Rig Veda. So and Trikshi is another name for the Western Ikshwakus. So who were so this particular situation that the rishi is describing Sarayu River, they are well known in the Ramayana that these river the Rishi Gotras are related to the Ikshvakus. One is Vamadeva, and another one is Atri. So both of them are Vamadeva is the one of the priest of Dasharatha and Sri Rama. Like just like Agastya, Vamadeva he was also considered as a priest of Sri Rama. So that means Vamadeva Rishi. So it's not like the same Vamadeva. It's multiple number of Vamadeva Rishis in that same Gotra. That's what I'm talking about. So of course, the Rama's contemporaries were Vasishtha and Vamadeva of 10th Mandala, which is a part of the same lineage. That same lineage, which continuing from like for example, Vasishtha is continuing from 7th Mandala, Vamadeva is continuing from 4th Mandala onwards. So at least this shows like there is a kind of data correlation. What is river Sarayu is always associated with the rishis like Vamadeva and Atri, who are also associated with the Ikshvakus, like even Eastern and Western Ikshvakus. So this allows us to have a kind of creating a kind of a uh, like there gives you like in plenty of data points to tell that there were both western and eastern branch of Ikshvakus. So then comes from where they originated. So that is another because I have also looked at some of the ancient some of the ancestral Ikshvaku lineage kings before they were diverging into two different branches, eastern and western. So when you look at the ancestry of Ikshvakus, there are kings like Manthata, who are considered as ruling close to Yamuna Saraswati region. Because in the Mahabharata, Manthada's territory is very clearly mentioned as in the vicinity of Yamuna and Saraswati, very close to Kurukshetra, etc. Because there is a pilgrimage of Yudhishthira where Lomasha is the guide, and he go around all over India and then comes back to Kurukshetra. And before reaching Kurukshetra, he is pointing to a region called, this is where the Manthata ruled, and it is close to Yamuna and very close to Kurukshetra. So this is the Yamuna Saraswati region, that is Haryana region, which was the territory of Manthada, one of the oldest Ikshvaku king. He is older than Sudas. He is one of the king who have mentioned as battling with the Dasyus or the northwestern people and making them migrate. So this is because we all see, for example, all this out of India theory is all about people migrating to the northwest, and one of the reasons for migration are conflicts like battles. So Suda's battle, that is the battle of this Dasarajana battle or the battle of Parishni, is considered one of the event which caused migrations. And Manthada's battle are predating Suda's battle, and it happened earlier in pre-Ṛgvedic period, like even before the 6th Mandala. King Manthada ruled before 6th Mandala, that is the oldest Mandala of the Ṛgveda. So there was he is an ancient king who gave a template of fighting with the northwestern people and making them flee to the northwest. So he has set forth an earlier wave of northwestern migration of Indo-European people into Central Asia and to Iran and to further westward, northwestward into Europe. So Manthada is one of the person who triggered that. And subsequently, in the early Ṛgvedic period, Sudas also contributed this kind of northwestward migration of people. So that is the significance of Manthada. And Manthada's domain, as per the Itihasa, Mahabharata, is very clear because there is no other data about Manthada. This is the earliest data about Manthada. If you scan through all the Itihasa Puranas, this is the earliest data. So Manthada's most earliest data about Manthada is that he is ruling from Yamuna Saraswati region. So this is another data point. So I consider that the Ikshvaku's original homeland is in the Yamuna Saraswati region. And of course, this is also makes sense because we know from the Itihasa, the Itihasic history, that Manu is considered as the most ancient ancestor known to us. Of course, there may be many people more than before him, but he is the most ancient ancestor known to us. And Manu's lineage diverged into two parts. Through his daughter Ila, Ila gave rise to Chandravamsha, and the Pururavas, Ayush, Nahusha, Yayati, then the five tribes, five clans from Yayati, the Yadus, Turvasas, Druhyus, Anus, and Purus. And Puru gave rise to Bharata lineage. Bharata diversified into three parts, Kushikas, and then Panchalas, and the third third Bharata lineage is the Kuru Panchala lineage. Sorry, the Kaurava lineage, the Kuru Pandava lineage. So this entire branching we know. And the other side, you have Manu's son Ikshwaku, giving rise to the Ikshwaku lineage. So you have two lineages, the Ikshwaku lineage, and the other lineage from Ila is called Aila Puru Bharata Kuru lineage, because there are different stages to it. Ila means Ila's descendants. So Ila, Pururavas, Ayus, Nakusha, Yayati, these four people are called Aila because they are all descendants of Ila. And from Yayati, the Puru dynasty started. So from there, the Puru lineage emerged, and Yadu lineage also emerged, Anama lineage emerged. And Drishus simply melted away. I mean, okay, Drishus went westward. So most of the European, Indo-European language, their ancestor is the Drishus. And the Turvasa melted away into Yadavas and Drishus and Anus, like that. So the five lineages spread like that. So because of all these things, what we can understand is that there is a Aila, Puru, Bharata Kuru lineage from the daughter side of Manu, and there is an Ikshwaku lineage from the son, that is like Ikshwaku side of Manu. So two branches diverged by Manu. So most ancient king of both the Ikshwaku lineage and both the Aila Puru Bharata Kuru lineage, both of the lineage ancient king has to be in Haryana region, because Manu's place Manusha is in Haryana, that is in the Kurukshetra, and Manusha is the most ancient place mentioned in the Ṛgveda, along with the place of Ilaspada, the Manu's daughter. So naturally, the place of Ikshwaku has to be closer, somewhere closer in the Haryana region. And naturally, some of the descendants of Ikshwaku, early descendants of Ikshwaku, like Manthata, has to be in the Haryana region. And that is exactly the same thing you get from Mahabharata data. So that is how you reject or accept your data. Because if I don't have this information, then I have to consider the data in the Mahabharata that Manthata ruled in Haryana as just an interesting data, but cannot be taken further. There will be so many other data. In the Puranas, you see Manthata Island, in Narmada Valley, etc. So I have to consider it as equal to that level. But now I also have the additional information that Manu was living in Haryana. Manusha is the oldest place name recorded for Manu in the oldest book Ṛgveda. Manu's descendants, direct daughter Ila is there in Ilaspada, again closer to the Manusha. Naturally, anyway, we didn't find any place associated with Ikshwaku, equivalent place associated with Ikshwaku, like just like Ilaspada, there is no Ikshwakusthana or anything like in Mahabharata or in Ṛgveda. But naturally, it is automatic, like the sister is here, so brother should be somewhere. So that is then, and it is corroborated or supported by presence of Manthada in the Yamuna Saraswati region. So this may allow me to make a big discovery that the oldest or the most ancient Sarayu river should be Saraswati itself. The reason is because, see, it can be any other river in Haryana, because oldest Ikshwakus were living in Haryana. So naturally, you can identify it with any other river in Haryana and can say that this is the ancestral Sarayu. But which is the river? I mean, in Haryana, there is only one river, which is the most mighty river. And every other river in Haryana is a tributary of that river. So naturally, I have to identify the ancestral Sarayu with Saraswati. And again, this is like a sequential identification of the ancestral Sarayu river with Saraswati, supported by the fact that the terminology, etymologically, Saraswati and Sarayu are very close.